ladies and gentlemen of all ages, boys and girls. Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Angry Meat Production. We appreciate you coming in and letting us be a part of your lives week in and week out. We hope to do our best to present you with something that your eardrums delight in. Whether you're looking at us on YouTube or Rumble, or listening to us on Spotify, Google, or Anchor, or any of the other podcast services that we are currently on or trying to get on. We thank you. And if you don't mind, at the end of every episode, stop by, leave us a comment, leave us a like. If it asks for 5 stars, we'll take 5 stars, even if you don't like us. 5 stars are what it's all about. With that being said, we hope you enjoy our attempt to make our advocation our vocation. Ladies and gentlemen, let the games begin.
Welcome, Angry Faithful. Today on Nerd Sports 107, we're going to go ahead and talk about Buskegi. Buskegi is a sports in the Middle Eastern area where they ride horses, they take dead carcasses of goats, and they try to make goals. Oh, actually, it wasn't in... Yeah, it's in Asian tribes, but mostly in China and Mongolia from like 10th to 15th century for the series.
Isn't that the game that they played in Rambo 3?
It might be if it was like
they were all on horseback.
Yeah, they're on horseback. They're like tossing a dead goat's body or a lamb's body into a goal.
So not to be confused with Bukkake, which is something else entirely different, although it is a group sport as well.
Yes. Yeah, that is a group sport. And if anybody's listened to the Psychos of Sociopaths episode, you will know that I have a problem with that now. Oh my god. Dude.
Got it in the eye one too many times.
No. It's
somebody had too much hot sauce in their diet.
No. What did
too much hot sauce and not enough pineapple juice?
No, they try to resurrect
cuttlefish.
Okay, they try to resurrect the body. They drilled a hole in the woman's head, and they all did it on the body, trying to resurrect it.
Wow!
So they literally skull fucked her. Okay.
Yeah. Apparently, it didn't work.
Sometimes
you kids, when your NCOs tell you that they're going to gouge your eyes out and skull fuck you, it's possible. It's physically possible.
They really mean it.
Yeah,
dude, I got to that part. I was, I
was hyperbole.
I literally people giving me suggestions because this last episode was a suggestion from Andrea. She's like, you got to look up these guys. I was like, okay, I'll do the cult thing again. No big deal. And I started reading it. Oh my! I like the suggestions because it's a little bit less work for me because I have to try to find these people and everything. Dear God, the suggestion. I mean, they're gold standard suggestions. That they are. Anybody that gives me a suggestion on the set for the Psychos and Sociopaths to talk about and everything, or what the hell, mostly the Psychos and Sociopaths one, there are gold standards, and everybody meets that mark.
I was gonna say there's been a lot of high bars.
The problem is I have to sleep at night. I'm just so weak. So anyways, sports news. Are we going to go with the sports news that I found out this week, or we're going to go with Johnny's sports news?
Go for it.
Okay. And this is coming from ESPN. Alabama baseball coach Brandon Mahoney. Fuck it. We're going to have to do the Stephen Hawkins voice. Bohannon fired after leaks of suspicion. Bet sources say Alabama coach Brandon Bohannon was fired Thursday amidst a widespread investigation into a suspicion betting activities on the Crimson Tide game against LSU 6 days ago. Sportsbook surveillance video indicated that the person who placed the bets was in communications with Bohannon.
Bohannon.
Thank you, everybody. At the time, multiple sources with direct information about the investigation told ESPN the school announced that the athletic director, Greg Breen, has initially the termination process for Bohannon for, among other things, violating standards, duties, and responsibilities expected for the university employees. And quit laughing, Chris. Yes, I know I'm going to fuck this shit up. Jason Jackson, who served as Alabama interim coach, according to the school, which said it will not provide further comment because of an ongoing review. The Crimson Tide won their first game under Jackson, defeating Vanderbilt 11-2 on Thursday night. Okay,
well, apparently Bo didn't know. It's just
no, but what you left out the funniest part of all this.
Well, that's all they gave us. For the funny part in this whole thing is nobody bets on fucking college baseball.
That's what it was that they caught him because his was literally, I think he did 2 separate bets through this guy. The guy did 2 separate bets, and those were the only 2 bets on the entire game.
Exactly.
But he almost lost it because even though he tried to manipulate, because he put a rookie pitcher in.
Yeah. Well, the original pitcher got hurt. The original pitcher got hurt. He put a freshman pitcher. So he's like, oh, this game is gonna be fucking just done.
Our ass.
The pull over and stretch my legs.
I think he was supposed to keep left there.
What the fuck? He's goddamn fucking okay. I'm sorry, guys. That was me. ESPN popped up a thing and it clicked in. Anyways, the funny thing is
terrible thing.
Yes. What was
this by the way, this is why we do what we do. We do this not for the sports.
Not for the audience. We do this.
We do this for ourselves just so we can make fun of David on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And then have it recorded for posterity.
Right.
You know, I'm not even mad anymore. I'm expecting it. I'm wondering which part of it. I mean, I edit the thing and I'm like, maybe I could take that out, make myself look. If I would actually had like an ego, I would evidently this hour's show would probably only be about 30 minutes.
If you had an ego, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, exactly. Now, going back, what happened was the senior pitcher got hurt, was replaced by the freshman pitcher. They didn't think that he was gonna be like up there and working it out, winning the game. So he bet like. He did that was the whole reason why he bet against Crimson Tide.
Yeah, he bet on LSU to win.
And then the kid like shined.
Well, they ended up he did win because he won the bets because Alabama did lose, but they only lost by 2.
Yeah.
It was 6-8.
Yeah. If you go back and watch that game, it was actually a pretty decent game.
Right.
But if you watch the coach, you just see him going, fucking asshole, fucking, why are you doing good?
Yeah.
He's trying to keep his composure. And at the end, he was like, yeah. And then I still can't believe the only reason why.
It's not like you're on national TV or anything.
Yeah. Well, I still think it's funny that the only reason why he got caught was because the basic thing is nobody gives a shit.
Nobody fucking out of the entire country. There were 2 bets and they were both his.
Yeah, that's how.
10 minutes when I read that. That was fantastic.
Yeah, and what's really sad is the people that ratted him out were the betting people.
Exactly. You're right. It was the sports book that fucking ratted him out.
They were like, they were like, these are high end fucking bets, and nobody.
Yeah, there were a few
this shit.
$1,000 bets. Like they were
Yeah.
not small.
Yeah. That was so fucking hilarious.
You know, that's probably why they ratted him out, because they were like, now I got to go look for the line. Now I got to go look for the odds. Now I have to figure out how to cover this if for some reason he wins it.
Yeah.
They're pissed he made them work.
Yes. Oh, dude. What if that was the whole fucking thing? They're just so pissed off they had to work.
Yeah.
Even better
That's
if it was
exactly
like
what it is.
no. It was some intern who was like, I've never done this before. Like they you get the intern the shit work. So it's like, oh, this is only 2 bets. They'll be easy. And the intern's like, I've never done this before. How do we do this? And he's like, well, this doesn't look right.
That is so fucking.
That would be even more. Juicy.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Johnny, go ahead.
I'm just kind of reveling there. You know, it's like he's now out of a job. He's going to be forced to, you know, his wife is going to be forced to take out an Oscar Foxtrot page, and he's going to have to take her clothes to the cleaner. And every time he drops off the dress before he walks out, the lady behind the desk is going to be like, come again. And he's going to be like, it is every time.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So baseball news. Man, it's been surprisingly slow. Aaron Judge is activated off the injured list. Who cares? He said, I'm ready to go. I'm helping. Gary Sanchez.
You know that's not what he
throws-
said.
What?
He said, Timmer. I thought it was funny in my head.
That's what you get for thinking.
I know.
That's
So,
something
you know,
in your head.
that hole in your nose connected to that lump 3 feet above your ass. I need you to close it for just a couple of minutes. Thanks. Anyways, Gary Sanchez, who used to be one of the best hitting catchers in the major leagues, is fallen out of grace over the last couple of years. Well, he and the Mets have just agreed to a minor league deal. So good job, Gary, but you'll always be known to Red Sox Nation as the guy that Ryan Brazier, of all people, told to get back in the fucking box before he struck you out in the 2013 postseason. So good luck, you know, good job there. Let me see here. Let me see here. Max Scherzer's got neck spasms, and so he was scratched from his start. I don't know. It's either on the nightstand or it's on the end table. I have no idea. Just put it in your purse. Anyway, that's you know, out of the trio that we got going on here. I'm the only married one, and so you know, it's like I've got traffic coming in out of the. Nonetheless, all right. So the Astros have lost 3 straight, but so instead of everybody kind of going, okay, let's not start freaking out yet. You know, we don't have the manager from Major League going 2. That's just 2 in a row. When you win 3, that's what we call a streak. It's gonna happen. You know, it's like no. The fans of the Astros, the front office, that they're like, oh my God, we're not used to this. It's been years since we've sucked this bad. It's 3 straight. The world is ending. It's like Chicken Little in downtown Houston. And so what do? Oh, they're looking at the rotation. They're like, it couldn't be our offense. Maybe it's the pitching. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the Houston Astros, to the everyday life of a Red Sox fan. Okay, so just kind of calm your tits, Acuna your tatas, de-stress your breasts, pump the brakes there, Thanos. It'll all be over soon.
It's only May. Like
It's
there is plenty
it's gotta
of May.
be Justin Timberlake. It's gotta be May. I mean, come on. Let it go. Be like Elsa. All right. I'm just kind of putting that out there.
I just want to point out the Rangers are still kicking ass.
The Rangers are
21-13.
they're I don't want to say pleasantly. They're surprisingly good this year.
It's pleasantly. You were correct. It's pleasantly on this side of the mic.
Right. See, the problem that I have is the fact that well, anytime, like for example, anytime Kansas City threatens to climb out of the cellar, their fan base thinks it's 2009 all of a sudden, or was it 2009? What year was it that the Royals won the World Series last? I can't remember. Wait, 2014. I think it was. Yeah. So they're like, oh my God, we're going to the World Series again. No, you're not. Sit down. You're like the slow kid who, well, no, that's not fair to slow kids.
It's being very mean to slow kids.
That would be like being a Hispanic man running down people in Brownsville and being labeled a white supremacist.
That was actually
Ladies and gentlemen,
that Brownville?
Johnny went there.
That wasn't Brownville. That was Allen.
No, Allen was a shooter. We're talking about the guy, and the shooter was shot on the scene. We're talking about the guy who ran over several people. That was in Brownsville.
Oh, no. The new one, the mass shooting at the mall, they found out that he was a neo-Nazi. And he was Mexican.
He's not a neo-Nazi.
Okay.
He's cartel.
So we're gonna back up just a minute there, David. The Allen shooting happened, and then the Brownsville incident happened. So, I'm just kind of putting that out there. Appreciate the effort, though, trying to piss on my parade. Good job. Yes, the Texas Rangers are leading their division by a whole whopping game. 21-13. They got a .618 winning percentage. They got a +86 run differential. So, life is good for them. And then leading the world in everything is the Tampa Bay Rays. They're still sitting at 29-7, and I'm just like, I'm waiting for the fat girl to try on the glass slipper and twist an ankle or something on that whole team. I'm just kind of putting that out there. I mean, you want them to fail because their front office thought that it was appropriate at the beginning of the season to hang a wild card banner at their home opener. Most people just reserve that. They reserve that for not even division titles. They reserve that for American League Championship pennants, or their league pennants and World Series titles. No. They wanted to celebrate mediocrity. We're going to put up the participation in the postseason trophy banner.
That's literally the epitome of good enough.
Yes. And I'm every day when I wake up and I check the standings and I see who is in last place in the American League East, I'm filled with a renewed sense of hope, love for humanity, and take solace in the fact that every day there's more and more evidence that God is real when I see the New York Yankees in last place.
I love seeing that even more than I love seeing the Rangers at the top of the division.
I mean, because when my boys were younger, I raised that they were born into the nation, so they didn't have a choice. They understood that anything with an interlocking NY was Satan incarnate, and nothing with pinstripes is allowed past the threshold of our home, and that the word Yankee is a 4-letter word. So there's that. Anyway, and the only football news that I could find that I thought was worth mentioning was
Actually,
Patrick Mahomes' brother Jackson bonded out on felony sexual assault charges. And it's safe to say that we probably won't be seeing him doing his TikTok dances for a good minute. So, you know, if we have an applause sound effect, David, now would be the time to play it. He's the only one that hears that. Much like his masturbation sessions in the bathroom. He's the only one that hears it.
Am I really the only one that's hearing that?
God for that.
Yeah, you're the only one that's hearing that applause, David. You are a legend in your own bathroom.
Yes.
No, the applause.
Yes, the applause.
Yes.
And we're moving on.
Another peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. That's exactly right. Okay. Come on, here we go. Now, hockey. Moving on to hockey.
Well, actually, there's one baseball thing left. Braves Michael Ozuna reported pleaded no contest to DUI charge after their arrest.
His name is pronounced Ozuna.
Ozuna. There we go.
Oh.
So again, we're moving on to hockey. Seattle leads their series against the Stars 2-1. They are playing in Game 4 tonight. The Hurricanes lead their series against the New York Devils 2-1, and they are playing in that game tonight. Tomorrow night for the playoffs, we've got the Toronto Maple Leafs doing what the Toronto Maple Leafs do in the postseason, ladies and gentlemen, and all of our followers in the city of Toronto and surrounding the city of Toronto in that trash ass province of yours. The Florida Panthers. I really hope that they burn, and you know they're leading that series 3-0. And I would love nothing more than to see the Toronto Maple Leafs charge back and force a Game 7, right? Because if the Toronto Maple Leafs were to do what what only the 2004 Red Sox have been able to do, which is come back from being down 3-0 in a best-of-7 series, I honestly and truly believe that would probably be the most apologetic pyrotechnic riot in the history of Toronto.
All the burning.
You would get Maple Leaf fans coming out of their arena, going, "We're real sorry about this, but we got to flip your car, bud. You know, it's just a thing that we got to do, you know." And then they flip the car, they start lighting fires. You know,
they throw a Molotov cocktail and then would help the guy put the fire out afterwards.
Yeah, he's like, I'm just so sorry about that. You know, I mean, it's you know, we don't know how to act when we win. It's just it's a thing. I'm just letting you know.
This is new territory for us.
I mean, but in all likelihood, the Panthers are probably going to wrap that series up tomorrow night. And then the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be sponsored by Coca-Cola, the official cola of all underperforming postseason teams in the NHL. Yeah. So there's that. And then the Golden freaking Knights are winning their series 2-1 over the Edmonton Oilers. I would love to see Edmonton come back and win that series. I really do. I would love to see that. I mean, I'm not saying that I want them to advance to the Stanley Cup final, because to be completely and perfectly honest with you, I could go without having to hear "Oh Canada" before every freaking game of the Stanley Cup final. You know, it
Racist.
I mean, I can't even say the name. Oh Canada, I can't, because then
I think you watched.
I want to go suck start a moose and go get high on maple syrup all of a sudden. You know,
The only song that you could
then
actually
bitch
say the word
because
ham-
we've been bitch because the Americans, they call ham Canadian bacon. It's like, what do we fucking call regular bacon up here? We call it bacon. It's like, what do they call Canadian bacon in fucking Canada? They call it ham.
Oh, it's because it is ham.
It is
I
ham.
think Johnny watched the South Park movie way too many times.
I was gonna say the only song you can actually say Canada in is Blame Canada.
Actually, fuck Canada. That's the whole song. Fuck
Well,
it.
I could hear the Dropkick Murphys recording a cover of "Fuck Canada." That would be kind of funny.
That would be hilarious.
I mean, it would. I think it would instantly become it would top the charts on iTunes.
I'd
Yeah.
listen to it.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on.
If any of our many viewers out there are any kind of pull in the record world, make that happen. We'll get
right,
it.
exactly. I mean, Wheeler Walker Jr., looking at you, bud.
That'd be a completely different song.
It would.
That thing
there
was.
would be lyrics. There would be verses about pulling hair and slapping ass cheeks in there.
Listen,
somewhere.
Rodney Carrington, he's got to pay alimony, so he might be able to be talked into doing something.
His wife left him.
He's been divorced for like years.
Years.
No, what? No,
Yes.
I thought he got remarried. You know what? I thought he got remarried.
I don't think he got remarried.
Because I remember
Very surprised if he did.
there was a stand-up bit. He goes, "When you tell your wife, fuck you, get ready for a lifetime of alimony and child support payments."
Yep.
So,
Yeah, he did a special shortly after he got divorced, and it was sometime afterwards, but he came out on stage looking like me,
nice.
and then he put himself back together. And
Well, he did say that he's into drinking, bad decisions, fat girls, and little Debbie's.
he literally said, he's like, "Yep, your screens are fine." He's like, the old Rodster got fat.
Yeah. In NASCAR news, we're going to put a brief hold on that here. Hold on, because we are going to attempt to bring Colin in, and hopefully you kids at home will be able to hear him this week. So let's give it a shot.
Oh, if we're gonna actually hear him, then he better come in hot.
Well, no, you guys can hear him just fine. It's just
Oh, no, I'm saying if everybody's gonna hear him, he's got to come in hot. Like he's got to bring the heat.
What's up, my guy?
Neat. Solid.
On the screen share here.
There he is.
Yes, everybody. What's up, my guy?
Hello.
Hello. All right. So, let me try to get myself situated here. You guys can hear him just fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
It is that time once again, everybody. Hopefully you can hear us at home this week, where injustices have been wrought, rights need to be done. From the deepest, darkest reaches of my nether regions, I bring to you my genetic code. The reason that humanity exists. The savageness, the kindness, the heart, and the heartlessness. It is that time, once again, where we have all come gathered around your particular listening device like it's the 1930s and we're listening to FDR give a campfire or a campfire chat.
Fireside chat.
Fireside chat. Thank you so much. I present to you Joke Time with Colin.
Why was the gay guy fired from the sperm bank? He was caught drinking on the job.
I knew that one.
I knew that was going to go bad the second he opened that. Oh my God.
I've heard that one.
That's hilarious.
Ah.
Okay, I need to run this one past you.
If you think you need to run it past me, then it's probably.
No, it's one of those ones where it's probably all right, but it's like I'm just paranoid.
Yeah, no, not that one. Nope. No. No.
I'll throw on the ones from last week because people couldn't hear us.
Yeah.
What do you call a blind German? A Nazi.
Oh my God.
All right. So.
Oh man.
I've already showed the guys, Colin. I'm going to show you this. And for those of you watching on YouTube or Spotify where we have video, found a neat little thing for my OLED switch. And I ordered it. Came in yesterday and I put it all together. So I now have an atomic purple Nintendo Switch.
So cool.
Bro,
Like,
look at them buttons. Look at those buttons, bro.
Buttons are awesome.
Them buttons are fire. Okay.
Dude, I called all of the GameStops in town.
Mm-hmm.
None of them had the Switch, the Zelda edition.
Well, we will.
You have to order that online right now.
That
Yeah.
thing is-
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you're not gonna find that anywhere.
yeah. I mean, you're
Yeah.
gonna get your physical copy this week. Well, not physically get it, but I'm gonna go get it this week.
Yeah.
Because it comes out on Friday. So the 12th is Friday.
Yes, it is.
Wednesday.
Yeah, see. Okay. All right. Anyways, I will give you guys a holler later. You got anything else for us? Any other parting shots of wisdom?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Y'all be careful with the weather up there. I love you guys 3000.
Love you.
Love you. Later.
Later.
And there he goes. Like a popcorn fart in the wind. You really have to check your heart rate, your blood pressure, and the scope of your divinity to really know that he was here. If you were left feeling more hopeless than before, we can always call him back. If you were feeling more hopeful than before, you had your humanity or faith in humanity restored. If you feel as though justice has been wrought, You are welcome. And just like always, this week's installment of Joke Time with Colin is brought to you by Mobile Notary Mindy. Yes, shameless plug. She is my wife, but she is our first actual sponsor of the show.
I don't think we should have a sponsor of the show that, you know, one of us is sleeping with. I think there's some kind of a
Was it a conflict of interest?
conflict of interest.
Well, I mean, the fact that
Shameless self promotion.
Yeah.
I mean, shameless self-promotion would be if
At least
I were
it's not-
doing it.
At least it's not like Johnny's first mistake with the guy that was trying to peddle Amway.
No, see, I didn't do. I know. See, okay,
You didn't do your due diligence. And
I didn't
find
do
out
my
what
due
the
diligence.
business was.
Well, no, see, actually, wait a minute.
Business owner.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ceasefire.
Okay,
Ceasefire.
Johnny
David,
has
this
to try
means
to,
ceasefire. Okay.
Here we go.
Hey,
Here,
David.
justify it.
David. I wasn't trying to get him to sponsor the show. You remember? Because we were still when I was
No,
still
you're trying to
looking
get him
up
on the
this-
show.
Hey, shut your cock holster and listen. You do way too much of this and not enough of this.
It's okay. I'm sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
mean, those ears are big enough. Good Lord. Tell your boyfriend to let him go every once in a while because you need to use them.
Tell the rest of the
Anyway,
cult what we
I
need.
wasn't trying to get him to come on as a sponsor because when I was still living up there, we had this great idea that we were going to interview local businesses and try to get them some revenue by having them come on the show. And I was like, okay, great. Let me run it by my producer. So I came to you and said, hey, there's this guy. And then you're the one that did the homework, which is what a producer's supposed to do. And then you found out it was more about Amway than anything else. And we just kind of said, no, we're not going to call him back. So before you try to throw me under the bus, good sir, you better make sure that the speed bump is not armed with spikes.
Yes, yes. And don't forget the doomsday stuff is going to happen next year, not this year.
Dude, he's told me that story 3-4 different times.
It's hilarious.
It's hilarious every time.
And
And hearing the justification from the other side is even better.
I
It's just-
know. I know. But
Super
here's a funny thing I didn't know about Rodney Carrington. He was in the military. He served 4 years in the 82nd Airborne. And he was 1st to 10th Special Forces Group.
No way.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude,
Dude,
Carrington was SF.
Dude, I have not met a Special Forces person yet that I have to like look up to. I always have to look down to the Special Forces people. They're really small. I don't know why. I mean, there's a couple of them, and like
Can't confirm.
God damn it. I love the guy to death. Mike Glover. I have to
Yeah.
look up to that motherfucker. But like Tim Kennedy, I have to look down to. I'm not saying that I'm
Wait,
He's a lot shorter than I thought.
wait.
Kennedy is a
Hold
lot.
up. Hold up. Hold up.
Oh, this is funny
David.
as hell. Yes. Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, David. Thank you.
That-
Oh
that
my
wrong
God.
person.
Did
Yes.
you click the link? David, did you click the link on the first thing that came up on Google?
No.
No. Click the link and
Do it.
look at who Rodney Carrington is.
Oh fuck.
Yes. Woohoo.
You guys,
I mean, unless Rodney Carrington got the Disney treatment,
he
that
got
is not him.
a deep suntan.
I mean,
Fuck.
That is man fucking tastic.
I'm sitting there going,
damn
no, see, because he would have brought that up in his stand-up acts a long
Oh,
time ago.
100%.
I mean, anybody who I know who has ever served in the 82nd, that is their personality.
Yes.
Fuck.
Oh, David.
Oh, we're ending the show now.
I swear to God, you cut this part out. I'm driving up there to kick your ass.
Oh.
You are not cutting that out.
I am not
Wow.
cutting that out.
That better stay in there.
Oh God, I can't believe I did that.
So Denny Hamlin dumped Kyle Larson this weekend to win at Kansas, and Denny Hamlin, he's got that big shit eating grin on his face because he got away with doing something dirty. Everybody knows that he dumped Kyle Larson, coming out, what was it, down the back straightaway. I'm just like, bro, I'm just like. Don't get me wrong, Denny Hamlin's got talent, but I think he's on the backside of that talent. I think his head is more geared now these days towards ownership and being a podcast personality more than anything else. He's got a show with Dirty Mo Media called Actions Detrimental. I haven't listened to any of it. I've heard it's a good show. I just personally, Denny Hamlin has got one of those faces that you just kind of want to hit with a bat, right? I mean, he looks like that kind of guy who's just begging for somebody to whoop his ass, and then the second they step up, he calls the cops, right? He looks like that guy.
Speaking of
Ross Chastain doing Ross Chastain things. Again, he is not making friends at all in the garage. People in the booth, they're 50-50. Love them or hate them, but I'm just kind of like, everybody wants to compare him to, and they want to anoint him as the modern day Dale Earnhardt, and
they're still riding his cock from the whole power or the fucking wall move that he did.
Oh, the Hail Melon. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
Hail Melon. Yeah.
That's
What it is. No, dude, this year he has dumped so many people. He has raced people like it was the last lap going, in the first stage.
Yeah.
Right. And he's putting the bumper to people, getting them out of the way, aggressively racing when there's no need to. I mean, you're early on in the race. There's plenty of time to sort everything out.
Right.
Right. He's just indiscriminately dumping people.
Yeah. And that wasn't what made
he fenced Noah Gragson this weekend, and Gragson's the first person in the garage to put their hands on him, right? And Ross Chastain got in a cheap shot, and Noah didn't get a chance to return the favor because the NASCAR official jumped in the middle of it. But I have a very serious feeling that Ross Chastain is very due for a major ass whipping.
Yeah.
And to be completely and perfectly honest with you, I think that it's going to be a good thing for him because it's going to humble his sorry ass, because he wants to sit there and issue these apologies over the radio and then wants to give the interviews post race that, well, I'm not surprised by their reaction. And, I probably had something like that come in, and we're just making mistakes. And it's like, dude, if you're admitting to the fact that at this point in your career, when you've had won several races over last year that you're now all of a sudden running out of talent, you might want to take a step back from the Cup Series for just a few weeks and go maybe race with the Xfinity guys and brush up your skills. I'm just kind of like, it's nothing against Trackhouse Racing or Justin Marks or anything like that. I mean, they're a great outfit. They've got a good business model and they're doing the things that they need to do. But you need to get Ross Chastain under control and make him understand that you are not the next Dale Earnhardt. You're not even close to being the next Dale Earnhardt. Even personality wise, it's like, dude, when you're driving these cars, they're hard enough to drive as it is. And you're going to sit there and deliberately use your car to boot people out of the way. Well, if your car is handling that good and your car is that fast, lift a little bit earlier in the turn and go around the outside. There's no reason to dump people that early in a race, because at the end of the day, somebody's going to be willing to take the hit for points and money, and they're going to hurt you.
Yeah, they're going to put you on the wall hard.
I mean, they are going to figure out a way to dump you to the point where you get injured and you are going to miss races. And there is no amount of apologies on camera that are going to earn you any less of a whooping when I mean, because at this point now it just comes across as being disingenuous.
Right.
You know, it's like he's saying that he's apologizing to these people, but he's smiling while he's doing it.
Right. And then he turns around the next week and does the exact same thing.
The exact same thing. I mean, it's
Be to a different driver, but you're still doing the same thing.
Yeah, you know, and as much as I don't like Joey Logano, as much as I don't like Denny Hamlin, I pray that he does this to one of those guys.
Yeah.
Because they're just arrogant enough to where they won't care.
Mhm.
Joey Logano's already got two cup championships. Okay. He's already got a race win this year. He could probably care less what people think of him. I mean, really. Denny Hamlin, he's gonna be that guy when his career is over with and he's been voted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. He's going to be voted in without a championship. He's going to be like Mark Martin. Now, I love Mark Martin. Mark Martin is and was and still is a stud. Okay. But let Ross Chastain bump Denny Hamlin out of the way. Denny Hamlin is just good enough to where he'll recover, he'll come back, and he will put Chastain not on the outside wall, he'll put Chastain on the inner retaining wall.
Yep.
And he'll do it somewhere stupid like Talladega or Daytona.
Yep.
So, you know, Chastain needs to watch his ass and he needs to start, do what I think it was Ken Schrader or Ernie Irvan. I'm sorry, excuse me. It was Ernie Irvan. Came out to the, he during one of the drivers meetings before a race, I think it was Michigan weekend or something like that. He gets up in front of the rest of the drivers during the driver meeting and he apologizes for the way that the way that he was racing people. And he said that he is working on trying to not, be that way. He's trying to learn how to work with other people because he knows that, you can't win a race by yourself out there on the track. I mean, unless you got a hot rod, you're going to need help at some point, right?
Yep.
So, I think it would be, I think it's inevitable. We're going to see it, but I could go the rest of the season without having to watch Ross Chastain get out of his car and spike a watermelon at the end of the race because he won it.
Yeah.
And I got no love lost for this guy. I really don't. I mean, you'll hear the critics, including Dale Earnhardt Jr., talk about how Ross Chastain's personality is a good thing for the sport. Well, personality aside, he's out there pissing people off, and he's going to put himself into a position where he's going to end up hurting somebody bad, and he's going to end somebody's career.
That's why it bothers me so much whenever people do start comparing him to Dale Earnhardt. It's like Dale Earnhardt wasn't out there doing this shit. He wasn't the intimidator because he was slamming people out of the way. That's not what made him the intimidator.
No.
And I feel like that's just continuing with that comparison is just feeding into his ego, which is exactly what he wants.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and and on top of everything else, it's like, where's the team owner? Again, I got no problem with Justin Marks. The guy's an an incredible businessman, right? And he is still a racer. I mean, he misses a lot of the race weekends because he's out running SEMA events and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, I get it. He's still a race car driver, but at what point?
It's not gonna have to come from the owner. It's gonna have to come from the sponsors. You gotta hit a guy like that.
Getting what they paid for. The sponsors are getting what they paid for. They're getting screen time. That's all they care about. They're getting their logo on the screen. Anytime that somebody every time he gives an interview, Advent Health right there on his on his fire suit, So the sponsors are getting what they need.
You got to hit a guy like that in the pocketbook, though, and that's why I say it's going to take. You're going to see this continue until he drops a sponsor. That's the only thing that's going to change his attitude.
Yeah, I mean, and
it's not going to happen, like you said, sadly, because they're getting exactly what to pay for.
Yeah, they're getting
that's the issue.
Exactly. So
that's the issue.
So I'm kind of just like, I'm not for playground, justice or anything like that, but it's going to have to come from one of the other drivers.
Yeah.
And it's going to have to come from somebody who is Chastain has picked a fight with at the wrong time. And they are going to have to put him in the wall, and it's going to have to be over the course of several weeks. And it's going to have to probably be a posse mentality or a mob mentality where they're going to have to come after him with torches and pitchforks. And he's going to have to consistently wreck out and get DNFs to where,
well, I don't think he's far away from seeing that, though. I mean, he's ostracized half the drivers out there.
Yeah, I mean, even Kyle,
the other half right now.
Kyle Busch, I was never a huge Kyle Busch fan, right? I mean, especially when Dale Jr. was still actively driving. I mean, I couldn't bring myself to root for Kyle Busch, right? And but I find more and more. I mean, from aside from his occasional antics, right, which have gotten fewer and fewer over the years.
Right.
The last couple of years, Kyle Busch has turned into more of a statesman for the sport. Mm-hmm. And he has really shown, I mean, to say that Kyle Busch lucks in or backs in or whatever, I mean, nobody can make that argument because, I mean, there's the level of unadulterated skill that this guy has behind the wheel of anything with four wheels. And, he gave an interview and they were asking him about what's the one thing that he would love to see make a comeback for, the Throwback Darlington weekend. His first response, Dale Earnhardt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he gets it, I mean, he gets it. And yeah, I mean, we may not be looking at another, like a fourth 7-time champion, but I mean, the guy has got like over 200 wins between all of his, truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series wins. I mean, we're looking at probably one of the greatest drivers in NASCAR history.
Certainly of this generation.
Yeah, at least of this generation. So, well, I'm not going to go rush out and buy a bunch of Kyle Busch gear.
Yeah.
No.
I
mean, I'm still going to pull for the guy, and but as far as Ross Chastain is concerned, I mean, yeah, and it's cool to see that kind of that like the hail melon move that he pulled at Richmond last year. I mean, NASCAR had to go and invent a rule to keep people from doing it.
Right.
You know,
But does that, like, when he does something exciting like that, does that cancel out all
no, it
of
doesn't. It doesn't
juvenile
because
bullshit that he does with the
you and
others?
I both know. You remember the old saying: "One fuck up will negate 1,000 attaboys."
Yep,
You
exactly.
know, it's the bad stuff that you do that people remember the most. You know, and I'm not saying that he doesn't have talent. I'm not saying that he's not a good person. I'm just saying he's got a terrible attitude towards his competitors. He's got a terrible attitude on the track.
Right.
You have to learn how to work with people because, I mean, at the end of the day, your career and its longevity will hinge upon that.
Yeah. Your very life could hinge upon that.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking about 200 miles an hour out there.
Right. And just kind of wrap up the NASCAR news. Legacy Motorsport Club or Motor Club, co-owned by Jimmy Johnson, made the announcement last week that at the beginning of next season they're going to change manufacturers from Chevrolet to Toyota.
Wow.
So
Did they say a reason why they're going to switch over?
well, the thing about it is that Chevrolet, I mean, they're going to discontinue the Camaro this year after this year. But NASCAR is going to allow the Chevy teams to run the Camaro body through 2024 and I think maybe part of 2025, unless Chevy can come up with something different as far as their flagship car kind of a thing. But
Why are they? This is like the second time they've done this. Why are they getting rid of the Camaro?
All right, I love the Camaro, always have. Okay, yes, I know I'm a Ford owner. I'm a Ford guy, but I love the Camaro. Right, my dream car is a '77 Chevelle, but the geniuses that run General Motors and specifically the Chevrolet division decided that they were going to make the Camaro the poor man's Corvette, and then by doing so, made it as expensive, if not more expensive, than the Corvette itself. Now we're talking about the top end models of the Camaro, right? You've got all these bells and whistles, and it's got the same horsepower that rivals the new ZL1 Corvette. And I'm just like, why? If you have a Corvette platform specifically designed for that, for that degree of horsepower, if you want to, bling the car out with all like leather and all the, the bells and whistles with like cameras and 360 degrees, and you can link up with fucking satellites in orbit, from the touch of a finger, fine. The Camaro was Chevy's answer to the Ford Mustang back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was competitively priced. You're not going to see Ford going out there and pricing a Mustang at $110,000.
Jesus.
That's what the top end Camaro costs. And I mean, I think like even if you were to get just like a base model Z28 or a base model SS, you're still looking at $71,000 to $74,000. It's like, why? To me, completely just it just Chevy killed the Camaro themselves.
Well,
they want to sit there. They want to point the finger at sales. That's what they want to do. Sales have dropped on it. Well, Doug, because you priced it out of everybody's pocket, out of everybody's budget. But getting back to the NASCAR side of it, it's like manufacturer support for these, for teams has always been huge. It always has been. Toyota has done it right by, lowering the cost for the Toyota teams to do business because they're not building their own engines. They get their engines from TRD, which is Toyota Racing Development. So Toyota manufactures the engines for the Cup cars. And so that leaves you more money to do other things. And so you get more manufacturer support, you get better horsepower because it's a manufacturer engine. You know, there's more transparency with that program. So, you know, I'm just kind of like, all right. I mean, don't get me wrong, Toyota makes a great car. You know, they'll run forever, you know, but with manufacturer support being what it is in today's in today's racing landscape, I mean, honestly, I think this was more of a financial move than anything else, because yeah, they're going to be allowed to become more competitive because they're going to be able to spend more money on things like the car, more things, you know, on more things like the setups and things like that, because they're not having to go out and lease the engines from like Hendrick or ECR or Roush Yates. You know, they're getting their engines directly from the manufacturer. And you know, NASCAR's scrambling. They're trying to figure out how they're going to breathe new life back into the sport. You know, NASCAR screwed the pooch whenever they lost Dodge for the second time. Dodge was coming back to the table to try to re-enter the sport, but then like mid-talk, somebody from NASCAR said something Dodge didn't like, and so Dodge was like, yeah, well, we're going to focus something, you know, on something else, and they just walked away from the table.
Yeah.
I mean, there may come a day where we don't see a domestic manufacturer label on those cars. I mean, honestly, I think that's going to be a sad day. I mean,
yeah, I think that's coming sooner rather than later, to be honest.
I mean, the days of Chevy being in the sport, probably maybe another 10 or 15 years before they're gone. And I hate to say that, because I mean, I was a Chevy guy for the longest time, you know.
How long till we see a Tesla?
Oh, see,
Actually, I've actually seen Teslas do drag races. What they do is they took out all the interiors and everything.
It's bad enough. Okay, so NASCAR went from carbureted engines to fuel injected engines, and they started running ethanol.
Yeah.
Right. Then this year during the off season, they were testing mufflers for the California market races.
Yeah.
And there's been rumblings and pushes towards getting a NASCAR to go all electric. It's like, dude, half 3/4 of the race experience, for me at least, is feeling the horsepower, smelling that exhaust, you know, hearing those engines.
It's like going to an Amish tractor pull.
Right. I mean, now Dodge did come out with an all-electric Hellcat Charger, and they put simulated exhaust sounds on it when they rolled it out at the auto show.
It sounded awful.
What's really funny is the next week they brought out the new Demon, which can run on full ethanol or like 10% ethanol, has a switch inside of it. Dude gets 1,000 horsepower.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee you that car is not priced anywhere north of $75,000.
South, yeah. I want to, because usually the Demons are usually about $100,000.
Well, okay, maybe the Demon, but you know, but here's the thing: you got to have, in order to unlock the full potential for those Dodge cars, you have to go to a class. You have to get certified by Dodge
before they
own a red key fob.
Yep.
Because those cars are set up to run on two different key fobs. You got the black ones and you got the red ones. The red ones are the master key that Link is always looking for.
Oh, they're not that bad.
But when you really think about it, though, like that is not that bad an idea to do, Because how many times have we seen on YouTube or on TikTok or something? Somebody will buy a brand new Mustang, and immediately out of the lot will wrap it around a fucking light pole.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Do
Yeah.
not know what they're doing.
You know, for the longest time, insurance companies did not consider Ford Mustang sports cars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were all floor makers.
No, even the 6 and 8 cylinder cars.
Really, they
Yeah.
still weren't considered.
Yeah, they would run Camaros at the higher sports car bracket.
They're
And
still
you come in there and you got like, you know, I've got the KR 500 edition Ford Mustang, you know, and they're like, oh well, that's okay. Here's what the insurance is on this. Like, why is it so much cheaper than a Camaro? Well, because Mustangs aren't considered sports cars. You know, now they may have changed their tune over the years, but you know, I mean, I like what Dodge has done with their high performance horsepower muscle car division. You know, with the red keys and everything like that. I mean, you have to get certified to even hold one. But Chevy has just priced themselves out of the market. They really have.
What's really sad is what we're doing off the show. I was looking into those stocks and I was thinking maybe get some stock from there. Ford's down to like I mean like $10 a share.
Hey, I'm down with that. But
And
we'll talk business after the show.
well, no. What I'm trying to get at is looking at all those stocks. Dodge is the only one that's like priced really high.
Yeah.
Like 200. The rest of them are like one's 44, one's like $10. I mean, the American car is literally getting shown out by the other imports.
Well, that's because we've got the politicians in Washington, D.C., i.e., aka Mos Eisley, you know, where you will never find a more villainous group of wretched scum. And yeah, so it's one of those deals where it's like, if NASCAR were to go to all electric cars, I mean, you see videos all the time of electric cars catching fire.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine what that would do to the electric car market? Because you've got all of these rechargeable batteries that are getting banged up and needing to be replaced.
And you can't recycle.
Yeah, you can't recycle them. You got to bury them. You know, and then like what was funny, it was I think up in Seattle or someplace like that, where you know, you got the ferries, right? They had a ferry full of electric vehicles, and as soon as the salt water, I mean, there was a little bit of a rough weather day, so there was a lot of sea spray and stuff like that. Salt water was hitting these cars, and they were catching fire on the ferry.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
So I mean,
it sucks for those.
It's all well and good. I mean,
cars.
we can go all electric. That's all well and good. But I mean, if we're going to go all electric, we might as well hand China the keys to the back door, because that's where we get all the lithium from.
They will truly own us at that point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And all in the name of what? Global warming. I mean, come on.
It's climate change.
Which
I'm sorry, climate
global warming is climate change.
Yeah, we
some places it might be cooling.
Yeah. There's so much
all man-made. So yeah.
there's so much stuff. I mean, the first episode I ever did on this channel was Apocalypse Through the Years. And I think I said this on the last What the Hell episodes, but there's so much data that combats all that shit that people are saying about, you know, in the environment and of all, even going back of actually, oh, we're the earth is really, really hot, and they have data from back from like 2000 that the world was hotter back then than it is now. It's actually a lot.
The flat earth movement is making a comeback on Twitter.
Fucking hell.
I do not.
I don't follow it. I don't follow their account, but they're constantly popping up on my timeline, right?
That's because you're a flat earther in disguise. That's
Huh?
why we
No,
keep
watching the flat Earth debunkers is one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
I love. It's even better is when they go and try to disprove everything and prove everything correct.
Right.
So when
What-
they debunk themselves is even better.
Well-
yeah. One of my favorite arguments that a flat earther will give is that the Earth and its moon are flat, that the Earth is flat, but the moon and all the other planets in our solar system are round.
Yeah.
Only the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
And I almost think that at some point that this has got to be a parody page, but it's hilarious.
It started as a joke. Like you even look back at the actual like the modern flat earth society movement or whatever, and it
Mhm.
did absolutely start as a joke, and then it just grew from there, and then people actually started believing it 100%.
Well, it's like bottled
It's just
water.
gotten more and more and more. Yes. It gets worse and worse and worse.
It's so funny that sometimes a joke turns out to be like a trend. Like bottled water. When we were kids, did we have bottled water? No.
Yeah.
Bottled
We filled up the
Oh,
bottles.
it wasn't until 1996 when these group of guys for a business business school, they're like, hey, you're gonna have to make a business and run it. Okay. Well, they created bottled water as a joke. They were like, nobody's gonna buy this. They outsold everybody. And then they started making the business and everybody started copying after that. And now we have bottled water. What the fuck? They literally,
It's not just that we have bottled water, it's that we have people that will only drink bottled water
and there's
without reading the label, seeing that their source is the city municipal water system.
yeah.
So they're literally drinking that
Nestle
water.
Pure Life that we buy here in Texas. It's
Mhm.
bottled using the Dallas public water supply.
Dasani, Aquafina, they are all
It's just tap water.
tap water.
Not-
Unless
I
it's
will
spring water like Ozark is actually bottled at the source. That's
Mhm.
that's different. But you look at all these, especially the cheaper ones, every single one of them is pulled from it's just filtered water. It's what you're
Dasani-
getting out of your Brita is exactly what you're buying.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The Dasani water, I will never drink ever. Because you know where it's bottled at? Abilene.
Depends on where you're at in the state.
But I will never drink Dasani because
See,
I'm
he
San
lives in
Antonio.
Wichita Falls,
Here in San
and their Coca-Cola / beer vendor is an absolute nightmare knucklehead.
Yeah.
Everything gets routed through Abilene for Wichita Falls.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, like I've got
Because it's not
like
like
when I turn on the shower down here, because we're closer to the coast and everything, and we get most of our water from the Brazos, you can smell the chlorine as you're taking a shower. I've got a filter hooked up to the fridge, right? So that's how we make all of our ice and everything like that. I'm drinking out of the fridge, water out of the fridge most of the time because the bottled water that gets bought gets left out and it's not cold. And I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
So
we and the water here in San Antonio is extremely hard because it comes out. We got all the Edwards aquifer and it goes through all the limestone that's in there. So we have some of the hardest water in the country.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Your
you can
filters,
always tell.
the filters you guys get are that you have to take an absolute beating.
Yes.
Oh,
They're constantly crying.
yeah. I mean,
It's not even water anymore. We're just drinking tears from the filter.
you get you one of those rock salt water softening systems,
Yeah.
actually there's a new one that they use for pools now. It's oxygenating the pool water, and they're starting to do it for homes too. And it's supposed to be like
see, there's always that big debate between chlorinated and saltwater pools. And saltwater, great for the skin. Absolutely
great for the skin, and it doesn't turn your hair all different kinds of colors if you dye that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But if something goes wrong with a saltwater pump system, you
It's
were gonna,
fucking
dude, it is expensive to fix.
Yeah.
And they all, I mean, it's to the point where it's like, because within 5 years, we're gonna have a pool put in just on the other side of this wall. And I mean, I want to get a saltwater pool, but I'm like, at the same time, I'm kind of like, man, I'm not looking forward to that repair bill at all.
Yeah.
Plus you got to keep the pH up a lot more. And I'm just like, man,
It's more labor intensive.
it is. I mean, yeah, just if I was, I got to throw some shock and some chlorine tabs in the pool in the morning, and then it's good. But I don't know. I mean, maybe they'll have something better. Maybe the price of the saltwater systems will be a little bit more reasonable, within the next 5 years. I don't know. We'll see.
They'll come out with the next best thing.
Yeah. I mean, either way, first weekend with the pool, you guys are going to have to come down, and we're going to throw a couple of briskets on the smoker, kind of a deal. But
clothes optional, right?
no, David.
Um,
It's bad
I
enough.
bring
you can't
swim
be-
trunks?
David, it's bad enough that you can't be within 1,000 feet of a schoolyard or a playground.
Yeah, I
He's not even allowed to look directly in that direction. Like he doesn't even have to
really
see the playground. You can't even look if it's to the west of you. You have to look east.
What's really sad is I had to get the back end of the apartment complex because it's the exact distance. I can't even go to my mailbox.
And see, I find humor in that, David, because I've been to your apartment. I've seen your complex. So
That's the best they could do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they were going to let him into the Brigadoon right there, the one that's next door that's all gated off.
No, that's the Highlander.
Oh, the Highlander. Thank
I
you
used
very
to
much.
live there. That was I did not like living there. Although all bills are paid.
Yeah, all bills were
I had to-
paid. though.
all,
Yeah,
I, all I had to do was pay like the rent, but they had to switch on the AC or the heater. So
They had to come in and actually switch it for you.
it switched it over the entire apartment
So
complex.
it's kind of like when we lived in the barracks, Chris, where like the
Fuck
heater
yeah.
didn't come on until a certain time of year.
Yeah.
Everybody, as soon as they turned it on, you got that really like that burnt dust smell coming through the vent.
Yeah.
Mate. Nope. Give me my own thermostat.
Yeah.
I gotta have control. That's how you know you're at home, man. You have control of your thermostat.
Dude, there are two different
Oh,
climate zones in my house, right? The way that the HVAC is set up, and the one upstairs, the thermostat upstairs, like they both have to be set on the same thing, right? Otherwise, it just creates a feedback loop and it just jacks with the AC.
Yeah.
But like I see the kids coming out and trying to look at the thermostat, and I'm like, no, I'm just sitting
know
there
what
going,
everybody jokes about. Yes,
I mean,
100%.
I mean, the thermostat is a sacred covenant. I can't even believe we're talking about this right now. I mean, I want John Lithgow to come out in a pair of boxers and a white t-shirt going, you might as well just hand him the keys to your 401k while you're at it.
Yeah.
Boys, we're going to land this plane.
Yeah.
Do it.
And yeah. This is episode 107.
Yeah.
Damn, we've done 107.
We've
Yeah.
done 107.
The royal we, the collective we, David.
You're still
We are
trying to get off
bored.
the fact that the whole coffee situation. I said
No, because you're accepting a thank you on behalf of
Angry Me Production.
Yeah, no, see, that's not
She
who
typed
is
in
it
Angry
who
Me
actually
Production.
supplied the coffee though.
You did.
So you're
Right.
taking credit.
He had one of those
But
nice
I
little
also sent
promo
him.
boxes. Lovely promo box.
I'm just saying.
Whereas
And
people like me
I paid for.
who
I paid for
actually
shipping.
subscribe to the service.
He's accepting a thank you under false pretenses. That's the point I'm trying to make.
No, I paid for the shipping.
Oh my goodness.
Dude,
Dude, shipping wasn't not cheap. Shipping was not cheap. I literally paid for the coffee with the shipping.
Uh-huh.
So go fuck yourself.
All I hear are excuses and justifications for accepting a thank you that was not.
in that shot group, David. I'm just kind of putting that out there, man. Because I mean, if we have to send you back to retrain to 0,
Mhm. I
like,
think remedial. He needs some remedial training, I feel.
you need at the very minimum 6 shots to 0 your weapon, and you're out here trying to do it in 15.
Mm.
Not a
You're
good
just
look.
wasting ammo at that point.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, those ball rounds you're sending down range to that 25-meter pasty target could be better put to use.
I'm
Like
saying.
the forehead of a Haji.
I'm literally thinking I'm the
You're
only
eating our ammo budget is what we're trying to say.
what I'm trying to say is I'm the only one in the group that can run. Y'all get tired. I come back around and slit y'all's throat. It would be that easy.
Getting run on and getting run and running are 2 different things. David.
He's been run through, is what he's trying to say.
There
Right.
we go.
Oh, he
There
has
we
been
go.
weighed, measured, and found wanting.
Yes. Knight's Tale reference for you right there.
But it's not too late for you, David. You can still change your stars.
God damn, I hate you guys. 107 Nerd Sports. I'm David Dickerman.
I'm Johnny Skelton.
I am Chris Jacka.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.
Later.
Later.